from our factory only cost you 1,000 USD.
Have y'all seen that TikTok by the Chinese guy exposing how luxury goods are actually made? Basically, he says most of the luxury brands we use every day are actually made in China.
Hey guys, hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So you guys saw the viral videos of all the Chinese suppliers that were going in and letting people know like, hey, all these luxury items you guys have been buying thinking that they're made in Europe are actually made in China. And all they did was pretty much take all these expensive labels like Chanel and Dior and place them on there, and then boom, they charge you like 14,000 for them. So the video, I was just kind of laughing because it's just the way they were doing it. It was like so petty. They're like, okay, you want to do the tariffs thing? We're going to come in and let these people know what's really been going on. But a lot of people knew. A lot of people have actually were in a lot of comments saying like, who didn't know this? Like, if a bag, like a Hermes bag, is being sold at Walmart, people are like, oh my gosh, that's fake. That's not the real thing. But then now it's like, is it the real thing? Because then they had all these Chinese suppliers that were breaking down for example, the Hermes handbag, and they were going in and looking at showing you how the thread, is this, and it costs this to make. And then I was just like, wow, So for me, as somebody who's wanted a designer handbags for a really long time, I started asking myself, why do I want that? Because I know that for a lot of people, when they see somebody carrying anything designer or luxurious, they are like, oh, you must have money. But then I'm like, what does that matter at the end of the day? I like handbags. I like certain clothes. But if something looks nice on you and looks great, does it matter how much it costs at the end of the day? Because I don't think people are literally every day as you're walking down with a handbag in your arm going, oh my God, that's Dior. Oh my, she must be wealthy. Most people are kind of busy with their lives, So for me, I really had, the videos just made me ask myself, why am I so caught up in wanting something designer at some point in my life? And really, can I just go get other handbags that don't have any labels on them that are good quality? Because they were showing other countries. Like, for example, there's a lot of handbags that are beautiful that are from Africa that you can buy that are good quality. So why are we caught up in having the label on it? So that's one of the things that I really had to ask myself. The other thing that I liked is somebody mentioned on TikTok that pretty much these American suppliers have really exploited the consumers, especially the American consumers, by pretty much selling something that they know is not worth anything at the end of the day and putting these expensive labels on it because I guess they're too stupid to take the time to figure it out or, and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that really, really got to me was like, this is a way of exploiting pretty much consumers. Because if you know something is worth $150, why would you charge $14,000 for it at the end of the day? And you know that you're just slapping on a label somewhere in Europe, for example. That was interesting. And then a lot of people, kept bringing up that now when you're walking around with a handbag, people are going to be like, is it really a Hermes or is it the Hermes that you just ordered from China for $100? So now it's kind of like, you don't really know, right? So it started a whole conversation that I really loved about why are people caught up in getting designer items? What is this? What is the message? Why are people who are really flashy, who do want to show off what they have? Why are they doing that? At the end of the day, is this, oh, I got designer, so I'm rich and you're not. Is that what this is really about? Especially when it comes to the American, community and stuff like that. Is this what's really going on? Because that's a conversation that was interesting to me. It's like, okay, so you got this and I don't. So what? And, for me, I just love the jokes where people are just like, oh, I'm just going to be traveling now to go straight to China and just get my items because, they're so much cheaper. So, and then another thing is some people are mentioning how when they try to resell their items now, people are going to be like, no, I'm not paying you that. Like, if you have like a Dior handbag, they're going to be like, I'm not buying that from you because I know that it's worth maybe $100 really. So it's like people are like, oh, they're going to be stuck with all these handbags and designer stuff that they bought because people are like, we know the real price, and people are going to cut up their bags and trash them because nobody is buying them. And another thing that people brought up was, you can't trust everything that these Chinese suppliers are saying because they're being petty pretty much because of what happened with the tariffs and all that stuff. So can you really trust what they're saying? Or this is just another way for them to really, just to kind of try to push out their products, and stuff like that. So that was another thing that was interesting. But for me, at the end of the day, I knew some of these stuff was not real because, there's a lot of websites where you can order items like that are similar, right? So it always made me wonder because some really looked good. Like the Hermes handbag that was at Walmart looked pretty good. And I was about to get that because I was like, ooh, that's some good quality too. But I stopped myself and I said, why am I caught up in that? And what is this really about at the end of the day? Are we just trying to say, are we trying to keep up with the Joneses and say, well, I got a Hermes handbag now, And are people going to be like, oh my gosh, girl, now you are wealthy, you got money, okay, you got Hermes? Or what is it that we're really chasing after at the end of the day? It's just a showing off thing. Because for me, I love handbags, I love clothes. It doesn't matter whether they're luxurious or have certain labels on them or not. If it looks good on me, I'm all for it. But I know for a really long time, I wanted designer things, but now it's just like, I'm looking for things that look great on me, things that look amazing, and I'm not caught up in whether or not it's Dior, whether it's not it's Prada. I don't really care about that. That's not my thing because, so I had to really just look at myself and say, you know what? I can buy other handbags that are really good, of good quality, that are beautiful, and it doesn't have to be designer. That's really what that left me with. And so as consumers, we just have to ask ourselves, what are we trying to say when we have all these luxurious brands? What is the thing that we're trying to do? And are we that caught up in telling people I got this and you don't? And are we trying to separate ourselves from other people and saying, well, we are part of this club that only carry Hermes and you are part of the club that carry Walmart bags, kind of like this separation, So it just, and then the funny thing, like I watched a video where this lady was comparing how some, for example, really expensive skincare brands did not work for her. Like she was buying really, really pricey ones. And then later on, she was like, the ingredients were very similar to, the over-the-counter stuff you get at Walgreens, And she was like, at the end of the day, she gave up using all this expensive skincare stuff because they ended up just really loaded with a lot of the same things. And so they worked better. So, it just shows you that let's not be caught up too much on the price of things, but whether they actually work. And if something makes you happy, get that. It doesn't matter what the price tag is, if it makes you happy. But if you're caught up in getting expensive stuff just because you want to show off to people and you want to be like, don't play with us because we got money and you don't, then that is a whole nother mental thing going on, if anything. And so it was just really interesting to watch the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. I was just like sipping my drink and my little coffee and I'm like, ooh, wow.